Thanks for joining me again. We are going to do the Pi Hut Maker Advent Calendar for Let It Glow, Day 3. In previous days, we got the breadboard, the LED block, the Pi, other little components, and of course the USB cable. Let's go ahead and get this open and look at what comes in Day 3. So Day 3, we have, it looks like some buttons. So it seems like we're kind of following on par with the CodeMIS, just a little different in what's in it. In CodeMIS, we had 3 LEDs the first day, whereas this one we have an LED block and 3 buttons the second day. With this one, we got the 1 block LED and on the first day and 2 buttons on the second day. Just like with the previous day, let's move over to the desk and get this put together and coded. Okay, once again, we're in Let It Glow. Let's go down to Day 3 and see what it has for us. Incredible Inputs, the name of this one. And what we got was 2 tactile buttons with a green and red button top. And then more jumpers. Explanation of everything. Let's just move on to getting things set up and coded. So it put the 2 buttons right there and then right next to it. And if you look at the way it's lit up all these green, you can know that those are what power those pins. So let's go ahead and bring up the camera so you can see what's going on as well. And we'll scoot this off to the side a little bit so you can follow along there too. So let's get these cables separated, and first we're going to do is on each side we're going to put them over to the power rail like I've mentioned in the other video. Oh, one off. Red is typically power, so we're going to use orange because it's pretty close to red. Not that you really have to. There's no rhyme and reason to these jumper colors, so it's okay. And then we're going to take and move 1 jumper from here to, it's kind of hard to see what it is in, so it's going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one down. And then I seem to have lost a jumper cable. I don't have enough to do what it's asking. So I don't know if this is on the Pi Hut or if I misplaced it. It is possible I misplaced it, but it seems like I am missing one. Let's get what we can done. So the first button is going to go into slot 5. And then luckily here on my desk I do have some backup jumpers that I just have personally. We'll go ahead and get into this one, and we will go to pin or slot 4. over here. Some tips and pointers. We're not going to read all that. You can go through and read it all. Okay, there's a bunch of code. Doesn't really say where to put the colors, so we're just going to put green there and red here. So let's take a look at the code. So we're going to import everything like we have before. I'm going to stop talking about that in future videos because this is something we do every time. If it's something new, then I'll mention it, but for the most part, it's something we do every time. So we're going to call out the red button and the green button. I think I have those in the right order. I may not. We're going to loop forever, and if the red button is pressed, it'll print the red button is pressed, and the green button is pressed, green button pressed. So let's just see if we have the tops on in the right spot. So we'll paste that code and we'll run it. Let's press the red button, and look, we have them in the right spot, and then the green button. Okay. So let's look below and see anything we learn in this one can carry over to our other one, and anything we learn in the CodeMiss one we can carry over here when it comes to code. So this one sets output pins. So again, we have the red button and the green button, but now we're going to add the red LED block. They call it just red LED. And if the red button is pressed, it'll turn off the light. If the green button is pressed, it'll turn on the light. So you notice there's no timer to turn off any of these, so that means the LEDs will stay on. So let's just go ahead and copy and paste this code back into here, and we need to stop the previous program, and then we will run this one. Red does nothing, green does nothing. Oh no, there it is. Okay, it was just a little slow. Red turns it off, green turns it on. Red off, green on. And it reports the on-off right here as well. So we'll stop that code. Let's keep looking. What's next? Toggling lights on and off. So we have the input pin and the output pin, an infinite loop, and if red button equals 1, then red LED toggle. So it looks like toggle is going to work the same as red LED value 1, which is something cool in code. Code can be written in many different ways, and there may be benefits to doing it one way versus the other. That's just something you have to figure out. So we don't have anything running. So red LED, toggle it. So it stays on. You press red again, it turns it off. That's really cool. Good to know for some of the stuff I wanted to try in the last one, but haven't done this one yet. So we're going to count with buttons. So red and green button count, and then while true, if red button is pressed, count minus 1. So it reduces the count by 1, and then it prints that out. If green button is pressed, then it increases the count by 1, and we'll print that out. We get that. We're going to go ahead and skip to the next code because this is going to add Blinky to it. So again, it calls out everything here. Count equals 0. Red button count equals 1. Red LED on, and it'll print the count. Red LED on, and it'll complete the count. This one I will do an extra code for, but let's look at this real fast. Okay. So let's paste this code in. Stop any previous code running. run it. And if we press red, the red light flashed and the count went -1. Up. So we're increasing the count, we're lowering the count. Okay, so those are the included codes. I have a quick little bit I want to change and play around with, so we'll get it coded. Also, I did just notice I do have the jumper cable, so it was there. Nobody lost it. I didn't lose it. Pi-Hut didn't lose it, so we're good to go. So I'll be back in just a second, and we will look at some custom code I wrote. Okay, let's take a look at the code I wrote. So while we were writing, so let's take a look at the code I wrote on my own. So while we were looking at the included code, I liked the idea of the count and Blinky. So all it did was blink every time you flashed it. So I thought, wouldn't it be cooler if the blinking light reported what the count was? So there are a few things we had to do to get this to go. So in the true statement, everything up to the true statement is the same. The while statement is the same. So we did while true, sleep, just give it a second to start. And then red LED value starts off 0 unless it's pressed, so it turns off every time if it's left on. And then we have if red button is pressed and the count is greater than 0, then count equals -1. So it'll take 1 away from the count. And then for I in range of count, it will blink the LED, and it will blink it however many times there is for the count. And then with the green button, we did count +1 anytime it's pressed, and then for I in range of count, go through and blink the LED. So what this will do is after you press a button, it will blink the LED for however many times the count currently is. I did have to put in this here. This count is greater than 0 for the negative side of the red button, because if it gets to be a negative number or less than 1, then it will error out. So it just means we can't go below 0, which is fine. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. We'll run it. And if we press green, the red LED will flash once. We press green again, it'll flash twice. If we press green again, 3 times, 4 times. And over here in the shell, it's reporting what the count is. So we're at 4. Let's press red, flashes 3 times, and reports 3. And it will just continue that way. So that's a fun little way to change it. As I mentioned in the 12 days of Codemas, if you are following along, you're doing this box, create a reel and tag me in it. I'd be interested to see using just these components and up to day 3 of what you have done. So far, it's been a great project. Stay tuned tomorrow by liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and ringing that bell so that you'll be notified tomorrow when day 4 drops. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.